Hello and welcome to Module 16. Throughout this course, we've built a comprehensive understanding of Industry 4.0, from connected machines and cyber physical systems to AI, digital twins, cybersecurity, governance, and digital trust. Each module added another essential building block. Now we begin perhaps the most important phase of the journey: execution. Many organizations understand Industry 4.0 technologies, yet only a small percentage successfully transform their business. The difference isn't technology, it's execution. Our ongoing case study, Nova Manufacturing, has reached this exact point. The board has approved a multi year transformation program and allocated significant investment. The leadership team is excited, but the CEO asks one critical question: are we truly ready? That question becomes the foundation of this lecture because every successful transformation begins by understanding the organization's current reality before defining its future. Imagine constructing a skyscraper without first examining the strength of the foundation. Even with the best materials and architects, the project would be at risk. Digital transformation is no different. Organizations often invest in AI platforms, IoT devices, robotics, and cloud technologies, believing technology alone will create transformation. In reality, many initiatives fail because organizations overlook leadership alignment, employee readiness, process maturity, governance, or data quality. Technology is only one piece of the puzzle. Successful transformation happens when people, processes, technology, and governance evolve together. A digital readiness assessment helps organizations identify strengths, uncover hidden weaknesses, and reduce implementation risks before significant investments are made. In short, readiness transforms uncertainty into confidence. So, what exactly is a digital readiness assessment? Think of it as a comprehensive health check for an organization. Just as a physician evaluates multiple aspects of a patient's health before recommending treatment, an organization must evaluate its technology, people, processes, leadership, governance, and culture before launching transformation initiatives. Notice the important distinction between technology readiness and organizational readiness. Having modern systems doesn't necessarily mean people are prepared to use them effectively or that business processes are aligned to deliver value. A digital readiness assessment provides a clear picture of where the organization stands today. It supports executive decision making, prioritizes investments, identifies potential risks, and establishes a measurable baseline from which transformation progress can be tracked. Without understanding today's reality, tomorrow's roadmap becomes little more than guesswork. Digital readiness extends far beyond technology. Imagine an orchestra preparing for a major performance. Even if every musician is highly talented, success depends on coordination, leadership, timing, and harmony. Organizations operate the same way. Leadership must define strategy. Business processes need to support innovation. Operational technology and IT must integrate seamlessly. Data should be trusted and accessible. Cybersecurity must protect every digital asset. Governance provides accountability, while workforce skills and organizational culture determine how effectively change is embraced. These dimensions are deeply interconnected. A weakness in one area often limits progress across the entire transformation program. The objective is not to achieve perfection in every category, but to understand where capabilities are strong, where gaps exist, and where investment will deliver the greatest business value. Once we've identified the assessment dimensions, the next step is measuring maturity. Digital maturity models provide a structured way to understand how advanced each capability is. Organizations typically progress through five stages, from initial, where activities are largely reactive, to optimized, where continuous improvement, automation, and data driven decision making become part of everyday operations. One important lesson is that maturity isn't uniform across the organization. At Nova Manufacturing, cybersecurity and automation are relatively mature, while AI adoption and workforce capability still require significant development. This is completely normal. The purpose of maturity assessment isn't to compare organizations. It's to understand where you are today, identify your next logical step, and continuously improve over time. Transformation is a journey, not a destination. Understanding readiness requires a structured methodology. This framework guides organizations through seven practical steps. It begins by clearly defining business objectives because transformation should always serve business strategy, not the other way around. Next, organizations identify assessment domains, collect evidence through interviews, surveys, system analysis, and operational data, then evaluate maturity using consistent criteria. Once maturity is measured, capability gaps become visible. These gaps are prioritized based on business value, risk, effort, and strategic importance. Finally, recommendations are developed to guide future investments and roadmap planning. Notice that the output is far more than a scorecard. It becomes an executive decision support tool that enables leadership to invest with confidence and align transformation initiatives with measurable business outcome. Let's see how this framework applies in practice. Nova Manufacturing conducts an enterprise wide digital readiness assessment involving executives, engineers, plant managers, cybersecurity specialists, and business leaders. The assessment reveals encouraging strengths. Automation systems are modern, cloud infrastructure is scalable, and cybersecurity capabilities are well established. However, it also uncovers important challenges. Data remains fragmented across business units. AI initiatives are limited to isolated pilots. Workforce skills require significant development, and governance practices vary between departments. Without this assessment, leadership might have invested heavily in new AI platforms while overlooking the foundational issues preventing successful adoption. Instead, the organization now has a clear, evidence based understanding of where to focus first. This is exactly why readiness assessments create better transformation outcomes. Once readiness is understood, the next question becomes, where should we invest first? Not every gap deserves immediate attention. Gap analysis compares the current state with the desired future state, allowing organizations to identify the most critical improvement areas. These initiatives are then prioritized using factors such as business value, implementation complexity, cost, risk, and expected return. Quick wins help build organizational momentum, while larger strategic initiatives create long term competitive advantage. For Nova Manufacturing, strengthening data integration and workforce capabilities becomes a higher priority than expanding AI because those foundational improvements will enable every future digital initiative to succeed. Successful transformation is not about doing everything at once. It is about doing the right things in the right sequence. Experience from successful Industry 4.0 programs reveals several consistent best practices. First, transformation must have visible executive sponsorship. Leadership commitment sets the tone for the entire organization. Second, assessments should always align with business strategy. Technology investments without strategic alignment rarely deliver sustainable value. Third, involve stakeholders across business functions. Transformation affects everyone, and collaboration improves both accuracy and ownership. Organizations should rely on objective evidence, benchmark against industry peers, measure progress using clear KPIs, and repeat assessments periodically because readiness evolves over time. Most importantly, never overlook organizational culture. Technology can be implemented quickly, but building trust, developing skills, and encouraging new ways of working require continuous leadership and engagement. Great assessments ultimately lead to better decisions, and better decisions lead to successful transformation. Let's conclude by reflecting on today's key message. Digital transformation doesn't begin with technology, it begins with understanding the organization itself. A digital readiness assessment provides leadership with a realistic view of current capabilities, highlights strengths, exposes hidden gaps, and establishes priorities for future investment. For Nova Manufacturing, today's assessment has created clarity. The board now understands where the organization stands and what must happen next. In our next lecture, we'll take the logical next step. Now that we know where we are, we can define where we want to go. Our next lecture will focus on building an Industry 4.0 transformation roadmap, a structured, phased plan that converts today's readiness insights into measurable business outcomes. Remember the central message of Module 16. Vision defines direction, execution creates value, people sustain transformation.